It's Wednesday. We have points, so I guess we're back-ish.
Yeah, so back.
Genuinely had forgotten what that music had sounded like and where the fade out part was.
I know, right?
Welcome everyone to Grim. No, that's the other thing that we had abandoned this for. Hey, Danny.
Yeah, John.
Thanks to Daddy Games Workshop, we got some points.
I know we sure did.
That are dropping today. We're dropping this episode. I was going to say out of our usual scheduled release order, but that's kind of gone completely out the window. So this regular episode, we got some previews of the points. So we're going to kind of take it through here because our old way of doing things and other people's old way of doing things of just silently reading the pages or showing high quality scans. Super boring. So instead, we're going to go through what I guess Danny considers the top 5 winners from Chapter Approves Points Adjustment 2022. Danny, I guess a little high-level overview to start with. How are you viewing these points changes?
I mean, it's all pretty favorable, I think. I think all the points changes seem fairly justified. Some of the ones I was a little bit surprised on, but hey, look, you beggars can't be choosers. I'm glad we're doing some adjustment to the game. I think the heavy hitters got hit, and the people that were feeling a little light got a little lighter. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. How do you feel about this being like a separate document from the match play for the past couple of years? And we're kind of tied to the I guess the GT pack,
right?
GT pack no more.
I know. Well, it is still a GT pack, right? So you're going to need it to play match play in the current competitive season if you want to do that. But it's got missions and new secondaries. We're all very excited for this to be released. But they separated the points from being kind of tied to this GT pack altogether, and they're just going to release them online, which I feel like gives them the option to be a little bit more agile with points changes. I'm pretty excited about this.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I will say here, though, Chaos players, it does say the points value listed in this document replace any published previously. Do not use that as a reason to use this document instead of your codex, which is coming in the near future. In the same way, the Chaos Knight players, please don't think that because the Nephilim Warzone pack comes out after your FAQ, that you can keep cheesing the secondary to be in any morale phase. You can't. If you're trying, you're just proving why Chaos is awful.
You're just the worst.
You're just the worst. So I guess taking us through our winners, Danny, what's your first winner from the points update?
Oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to go progressively through the document here. So I think the first thing I want to talk about that I thought was a really big winner was Adeptus Sororitas.
The little Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
Getting a little buff from Nephlim. From their secondaries.
Oh, absolutely. Well, plus remember too that they still have Armor of Contempt, and also you're looking at an army that overall also got another buff with the revision that they did, where they get an extra faith point every turn, not just every battle round. So they're already looking good there, right?
For sure.
But what if all their really good? What if a lot of their really good units either didn't change or went down in points?
You're talking about, obviously, Astrid Thurga and Agatha
Clearly.
Dolan. Clearly the greatest character unit.
Bargain at 90 points. Agatha, of course, as you're well aware, is an old woman.
Yes. Will say, not to talk on the competitiveness of that unit, but after hearing multiple Sisters of Battle player, including Art of War winner John Lennon, saying it's the only Sisters unit he doesn't actually own and was unable to find anyone who had a painted one.
Right.
I think that tells you all you need to know about that unit.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% right there, John.
Yeah.
So just kind of going over some of the winners from their specific faction, I think. And we're not going to go crazy into this, but it looks like the Triumph dropped 20 points to be an even 200, which is pretty dope. Also, another star unit. Well, to be fair, the Parade is not really one of the best units from Sisters, but at dropping 200 points, yeah, maybe you'll see it a little bit more. Celestian Sacrosanct, a very popular unit. went down 2 points a model to 14 points, which is super good. Everyone should be pretty excited about that. You're going to see these for sure now. Paragon Warsuits got rid of most of their costing options. The only thing you have to pay for is for each multi-melta, and they start at 210 for the unit, and then 10 points per every multi-melta.
Which isn't
really good.
bad, and I think this is something we're going to see like throughout these points update is the removal of costs for upgrades.
Yep, 100%. Penitence at 50 points a model is pretty spicy. I like that a lot. And Mortifiers at 60 is still very good, and only 5 points for the Anchorite Sarcophagus. I like that. Zephyrim down to 15 points a model, and that's full cost. The only options on them are a plasma pistol or a pennant for 5 points. So that's another great unit. Repentia, no change in points. You like to see that. So overall, some really nice little changes to some of their better units. I can't wait to see what Sisters players are going to come up. Morven Vol, I think, dropped some points too. She's 280 now. So another great unit. You always see her a ton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So from the sounds of it, like Sisters players' existing armies have gone down like a bunch overall.
I think all the really good close combat units went down, and so I think that the build that was already probably the better one for Sisters just got cheaper. So I think it's probably just better. They're just good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, those changes made from the Nephlim GT pack really kind of play to their strengths. Being able to take more than one faction secondary really helps them. These points drop help them and really push them back up to where they were before the dark spring of of those armies that shall not be named.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll touch on them. So, and this is going to be our top 5 armies. So first one was Sisters, right?
Yeah.
Next, I think we're going to move on. We'll move right past the Chaos Space Marines thing because people will be whining about that soon enough.
Which, by the way, Chaos Space Marines, all of their new points and units represented in this book.
Yep. So for the next 2 weeks, get really excited to play all your 1 wounds Chaos Space Marine models at like 18 points for Legionnaires.
Or however long it may be. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Oh, sure. We have no idea.
For sure. So everything is going to be pointed for the new book, with Abaddon here showing himself to be 300 points. Guys, I'm sure he will be very worth 300 points.
Yeah.
And then, of course...
Gulliman dropped 80 points to 300 points too? So they're evenly matched. I think that's a great change.
That's a great change. Evenly matched, but it's still Abaddon on the table. Far better.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
I would assume. I wouldn't know. But yeah. Moving past the Chaos Space Marines, I think, Danny, you're going to move to an army that's near and dear to my heart.
Man, John.
I just want to say, before we carry on any further, I have always been a Death Guard player. Very excited about Death Guard. They've just been a true love. I won all my RTTs with Death Guard.
Sean, you've been pre-gaming this army like a frat boy before the Super Bowl. If that's a sports reference that I can make, that's a non sequitur. Look, the point is that
I forgot I had the sound.
Okay. Hold on. Everybody wait a minute while John finds the appropriate noise.
Yeah. You can't hear anything because Danny doesn't have headphones because it's been so long since we recorded. All of my stuff is scattered to the wind. Death Guard made out bandits. So I think the combination of the changes to their secondaries and the GT pack for Nephilim, combined with the extra rules they got from the balance update, combined with these points, really raised this. Tell us more about it.
So if you haven't checked out the new Death Guard secondaries, I highly recommend that you give it a little peek. They got all of their secondaries got better and are easier to obtain. So that's exciting. Also, you got some good points drops too here, which is just excellent. You're looking at 5 points Poxwalkers. You got to love that.
Back to where they should be. I'm going to say one of the reasons I stepped aside from Death Guard and moved on to like Chaos Knights and kind of other things like that was the move for Poxwalkers to 6 points. For a lot of the standard builds, that's 80 to 100 points riding to an army that's already suffering from the environment it's in.
Sure. And now, not so bad. It's probably pretty worth it to
pretty appropriate. What you were telling me was amazing though when it comes to troops. It's not the Poxwalkers.
Yeah, the Plague Marines are actually got a really nice buff here.
A little stealth buff even.
Yeah. So they stay 21 points a model, which people automatically, I'm sure they're thinking, well, fuck that.
For real, I wrote them off just looking at them. I'm like, well, fuck, they're not 17 points. I don't care anymore. But then you came in with some hard facts.
Yeah, so guess what? No points for options. So that means that every option in the Plague Marine entry is free. So feel free to take as many flails, power fists, swords,
light launchers.
Yeah, melt-a-guns, anything you want.
Your champion, power fist and plasma gun the whole time.
Every day. He's out here living his best life. And so, yeah, min squads of 5, I think, are really good for them. I think it's super solid.
Because for like 300 points, you have like 303 points roughly, or 315 points. For a squad that combined has 3 power fists, like 6 plasma guns, like a whole lot of utility coming out of that
a bunch of
squad.
Like flails. They've got, their trench fighters. So you've got some definite options there. They're very good. Blight Lords, down to 40.
Yep.
So that's like a 2-point or 3-point drop?
So that was a 2-point drop. You saw them. I mean, if you honestly, 90% of the Death Guard point changes are undoing what was raised in the last chapter approved. So Blight Lords go back from 42 points down to 40 again. 40 is a great place for them to be at.
Yeah.
42, it was a little bit of an increase. Didn't seem like a huge amount. But again, popular Death Guard builds at the time were max Blight Lords, max Death Shroud, max Poxwalkers.
Right. And don't forget, these guys got OBSEC now.
Yeah, they have OBSEC. So they went down 2 points and they got OBSEC.
And Armor of Contempt. They are just damn good.
That's
good. Death Shroud went down to 50.
They did. So 5-point drop when we heard 5-point increases. Well, you never listen to rumors.
That's right. Just rumors are garbage and leakers should die.
Yep.
So
the best thing about Death Shroud, okay, so they're back down to the original 50 points model. They keep objectives secured.
Yep.
They keep Armor of Contempt.
They do.
The second flamer for the sergeant, still free.
Yep. It's all win for them.
It's all win.
Yeah.
For some reason, GW still thinks chimes are worth 15 points.
I really don't understand.
I don't understand. I mean, I think there's maybe like one guy in the office, like maybe Robin Credits, is like, no, I lost really badly to chimes one game.
Do you guys understand how cool it is for someone to have a pair of wind chimes that they bring into battle?
Just standing there like, ding. Man, I'm inspired now.
John.
That's not even the...
John, I'm going to need more wind chime.
That isn't even the grossest point drop Death Guard got.
I know. There's still more, guys. Mephitics?
Yep.
They went down to 120. Is that a drop for them as well?
That is a 10-point drop. They were 130.
Nice.
Chapter approved the year before. They were 140.
Whoa.
So like
consecutive
10-point drops. And so I still think we're going to start seeing those on the table because we're starting to see them at 130. 120 for like a frag missile launcher and a melt-a-gun and close combat ability. And for Death Guard, speed means they're going to be on the table.
And don't forget...
I'm going to.
Armor of Contempt.
They do have Armor of Contempt as well. God.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we have a rule that's not going to last past one balance update.
The Fetid Blight Drone. I don't know that they went down in points.
So I believe...
Because they're 115 now for 5 points for the Flesh Mower, 10 points for the Heavy Blight Launcher.
Right. And then the Flesh Mower was, I believe, 5 points before. I think those are pretty similar points for it.
But still great.
Still great units. And again gives it that... Right now, actually, Danny.
Yeah.
They went down 15 points.
Heck yeah, dude.
They're 130 points down to 115.
Yeah.
There was no reason to lower the unit that much. I love it. You love to see it. But guys, and you can tell, I'm very excited about this change to the point where, do I regret loaning Danny my Death Guard army for this weekend's tournament? A little.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very excited to Paw Patrol it, but super good. So yeah, Blood Drones dropped 15 points.
Amazing.
Blight Trawlers dropped 10. Spawn stayed the same.
Yeah, Spawn stayed the same. They were good though. People took Spawn a lot.
Yeah.
John.
Yo.
We're down to our star, the Plague Burst Crawler.
Plague Burst Crawler.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about things that should not have dropped in costs. Also, Malignant Pillycaster down 5 points.
Oh, did he drop 5 points?
He's down to 90 points base
look
now.
At that. That's cool.
Typhus still the same because he's a Chad.
Yeah. So Plague Burst Crawler is 135 and 5 points for each entropy cannon. That's it. So you switch the front gun as much as you want. Or run it with flamers, that's fine too. Or run it with 2 entropy cannons, like a man. Your choice. no more than 145 points, which is a steal for what you get. I mean, It's crazy how durable that thing is for those points.
I think this is too cheap.
Yeah, you think so?
I think
that's possible.
140 is too cheap for this, especially in a landscape where To the Last no longer exists. 135 for just a durable, tough body you can throw just into anything and it'll probably survive is super cheap.
It's so good.
Using it even just as a movement blocker.
Yeah, that's my plan with it. Like, is I'm going to be running them off the table as fast as they can
just
go.
Block it. Like,
yeah. I can shoot into combat, no penalty, right?
Right.
Because I'm Death Guard.
Right. Well, apart from your
the mortar.
Yeah. Who cares? You're blocking movement lanes.
That's right.
Yeah, super good. I'm sure Predators changed in somewhat, but who cares about Predators?
The Chaos Space Marine ones are, you look at those points and then compare, and then you can talk to me about Predators. Anyway, Mortarion.
Guys, real quick though, the Defiler.
Yeah.
Went down 30 points.
30 points?
I'm showing here. Oh no, this is the Chaos Space Marine one. It's 165. No, it's just 135 still.
Well, but Mortarion went down 40 points. Let's talk about that.
Down to 450. 450, I think, is almost worthwhile for him.
Yeah. So there's, I think, a list here, right? Where you're just being super aggressive with all the demon engines that Death Guard have and Mortarion. And then just trying to control the backfield with Poxwalkers and like some Plague Marines and just try and do the objectives and score the mission and just be like, all right, deal with all this wall of meat. It's difficult to kill.
Let's just do some quick math here because this is fascinating radio. So 9 Blight Haulers is 1,080 points. Plus 140, plus 140, plus 140. So 9 Blight Haulers and 3 Plague Burst Crawlers and Mortarion leaves you 50 points to spend on the Poxwalker squad.
So that's 9 Blight Haulers.
9 Blight Haulers, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, Mortarion, and a Poxwalker squad.
Oh, okay. Nice.
You don't start with any command points. Thanks.
I don't know how that's an army. I think you might need an HQ choice, but you're getting really close there.
Oh, so close. So 8 Blight Haulers.
Yeah. I think the Deadly Pathogens went down a bit too, which is weird. Like Viscous Death is 5 points now. So that's it always. I'm always taking that.
It's a really good thing.
Like, because I'm probably still gonna take a Foul Blight Spawn all the time, even though he's 90 points. Like just the Always Strikes Last and all that jazz is so amazing.
Yeah,
so.
And you can really do some wacky shit with not counting as charged.
Yeah, absolutely, like absolutely. It skews things a lot.
Yeah. Some of my funnest times are screwing up someone's combat plan because I killed them out of combat and then they didn't count as charging, so they can't consolidate or move. But yeah, he stayed the same points, which is super nice.
So I think Death Guard get a lot more toys. I think they get a lot more units to play the mission.
There's reasons to take Plague Marines now.
100%. Yeah. So I'm excited about this army. I think it's one of the big winners out of this book. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
We're going to talk really quickly about the World Eaters. They have a complete points list here.
Yeah, they sure do. 2 entries.
2 entries, which is less than Assassins. They got Karn the Betrayer at 140. Khorne Berserkers, 22 points a model.
Yeah.
I think 22 points for Khorne Berserker is ridiculously cheap.
It's really good.
For what they put out.
Yeah.
Considering it is 1 point more than a Plague Marine, and they put out just stupid amounts of attacks.
Yeah, 5 attacks a model. I went and bought the White Dwarf on this weekend. And, oh, absolutely. But I wanted those. So I bought a World Eaters army, actually.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I got like 40 Berserkers and like 10 Terminators, which is a great start to it. And then, so I'm excited about them. 5 attacks a model is always scary. So let's move on to our next winner, John. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's do that, guys. I'm super jazzed about Death Guard. They're going to be super, super good.
As excited as John is about Death Guard, I am just as excited about this next army.
Is it Tau?
No,
good.
John.
I would be really sad if you were excited about Tau.
John, I'm excited about the Necron points changes.
You do like yourself some Necrons.
I am a metal man at heart. Cold, unfeeling. I lack all emotion. But man, they got just points drops like all over the place. Catacomb Command Barge is down 10 points. Chronomancer is down 5 points. Let's see what else. The Lord. Lord got cheaper by virtue of him not having to pay for a War Scythe.
Again, we're kind of seeing this removal of options payments as kind of a real positive here.
And same with the Overlord. The Overlord doesn't have to pay for Tachyon Arrow. He only has to pay for a Resorb or a Void Scythe. Plasmancer is 65. Psychomancer is 65. Royal Warden is down 5 points to 70.
A real good point for him, I think. I mean,
That's
though
fine.
he was like overpointed at the time, but like 5 points is still a nice drop. Doesn't make him too overpowered.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody's going to complain about that. Technomancer down to 70 points. He only has to pay for the Canoptic Control Node for 10 points, which is great. Some of the Cryptek Arcana has changed, but don't take Cryptek Arcana, guys. Immortals have dropped 1 point a model. That's the change to troops. I was a little so. If I would be salty about anything in here, it would be that I feel like the Necron troops are probably still a little bit expensive, but that gets overshadowed by some of these other changes I'm pretty excited about.
I mean, do you think the change to make how am I going to phrase this here, to make your elites and your kind of your special choices cheaper kind of far outweighs the choice to keep the troops expensive? Because I mean, you can do weird stuff like make your entire army objective secured if you wanted to.
Absolutely, yeah. And double or count as double if they already are, which is really powerful. And probably still the best Necron build, because don't forget too, like, and as I go over this, we'll talk about secondaries, because the secondary part is the end of this is, it's hype, baby. All right, so what else went down?
Satans.
Oh yeah, the Satans went down.
A lot from it, because I was like, let's look
Deceiver,
at
I
see where
think,
it is.
dropped what, 50 points?
Yeah, Nightbringer went down from 370 to 320.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much sure that all of them
I think they all dropped 50 points.
Yeah.
And then also the Transcendent Satan dropped from 270 to 230, so I think he dropped 40 points.
Yep. Which still look good, because you weren't really seeing them on the table. You saw them sort of early in the edition when the Codex first came out, but kind of as more people like didn't really give a shit. If you could only do 3 wounds a phase, you saw them less.
Right.
This brings them more in line with other characters like I was going to say something I shouldn't, but like Gazgul, who are kind of stuck in that multiple wounds of phase.
Gazgul also 300 points. So compare Gazgul to like Nightbringer, and it's kind of hard to say that he's on the same level.
But it's kind of similar in the way that these guys who limit damage between phases, being around the 300 point level.
That's fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm not salty about that at all. So Hexmark Destroyer down to 65 points. Lichguard to 25. I really like that change. That was pretty hype. Scorpex stayed the same. The Triarch Stalker down to 120 with 5 points for the Heat Ray or 15 points for the Twin Gauss Cannon. I think that's a good change. Wraith stayed the same. Scarab stayed the same. Ophidian stayed the same. Tombblades got slightly cheaper at 28 points a model, fully loaded with stuff, which is not bad. So they start at 20, and it's like 5 points for their good guns, which is good because they're actually a core choice. They're actually kind of decent. I actually think that there's maybe a Tombblades build. I really like Tombblades. Here's the good stuff too, though. Locust Destroyers down another 5 points a model.
You were saying
40
earlier, why do they keep dropping the price
don't
of
understand.
destroyers?
And then Heavy Destroyers went down to 50.
Like, at least I understand with the Blight Haulers, where because you made them too expensive and you keep drawing. Like, I get that, but like you're just flummoxed.
They were honestly fine at 55 points. I was like, oh, these guys are good. Actually, I would take these guys a lot. But 50 points, 150 points for 3 Heavy Destroyers is brutal. That's a really good anti-tank squad.
And like those were the guys that you left hanging out in your deployment zones to kind of block off deep strikes and stuff. Things like
you
that.
can take them in units of 1 if you want. So they're 50 points a pop for that. Locust Destroyers getting 3 shots at 24 inches at strength 6 minus 3 D3 damage is really good against kind of some of the heavy infantry meta that we see.
Like say 14 War Dogs.
Yeah, sure. You pop 2 command points, although that is more valuable now.
For sure.
And they give them full to wound rerolls on a squad that gets like, I don't know, 15, 18 shots. It's pretty good. Let's see, what else?
How did your favorite Lord of War do?
Oh man, John the Monolith.
Monolith.
John, he dropped, I think, 30 points. Yeah. Yeah, because he was 350 fully loaded before. Now he's 320 fully loaded, with death rates being 5 points a pop. Obelisk down to 300 as well. Silent King dropped to 400 points, and that's a spicy pepper there, John. I'm pretty excited about the Silent King.
So Silent King was pretty synonymous throughout Necron lists that we've been seeing recently. Why do you think they dropped to 20 points?
I think that they knew Necrons needed a break, and they're just like, here, guys, have a Kit Kat. That's how, honest to God, that's how I feel. Like, they're like, we know you guys have been out here. You've been living a tough life on the streets.
So the reaction to the points drops for Necrons is the designers felt sorry for the army.
Usually that's the case.
Guys,
I feel like
we
with
went
Necrons,
too far.
sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about you. Also, the Tesseract Vault's 400 points now too, which is, oh my God. Anyway, Necrons got a ton of points drops. The units are still they're still Necron units, and that's a thing.
I think real interesting to see is the earlier books here with both Necrons and Death Guard being really early edition books here, seeing like a lot of love.
Not only here on the points, but also in their secondaries, because the Necron secondaries got a million times easier to do.
Which I think comes from a place of you're not getting a book anytime soon.
Correct.
I will look at the fact that one of the very first books, Space Marines, did not get significantly better as an instruction or a thought of what's coming maybe later on in the year.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm interested to see if Space Marines end up getting like a new codex pretty soon, or at least new supplements or something. If they do what they did to...
I think they're going to do what they did with other stuff, I'm sure. Man.
John having to catch himself several times tonight.
It would be really cool if all of the supplements were just in one book and you dedicated a few pages to them.
Yep.
But definitely, I think we're going to see the way these points changes and the secondaries work out. We're going to definitely see, I think, a new Space Marine book this year. If not only because Space Marine 2 is coming out and Daddy and I are going to record even less. We'll tell Daddy Val, sorry, no Grim tonight. We have to play video games.
Yeah, sorry, man. So that's Necrons.
Daddy Val, who's younger than both of us.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about that.
That's Necrons. Who else is on your,
all right,
list?
So the next army I have on the list is, and this is the fourth army, if you're keeping track.
We are.
You should be. I hope you're writing this down. We got Orcs.
Orcs, they've suffered from the beat stick a little bit over the past year or so. They came out flying with their bullshitty snaz throwers and all of this other stuff. They were nerfed once, then nerfed again, then nerfed again.
Yeah.
The changes to the mission structure in Nephilim hit them again. What do the points changes do for them?
So, and these are pretty minor, I would say. But there's some light at the end of the tunnel here. The Beast Boss on Squigosaur, I think, went down. He's 160 now. Which is still probably too expensive for him. I think he should be like 150. That's fine though. He's still cool. Gazgul 300 points. I think that's a drop as well. So that's pretty dope. More importantly is their troops. Their troops got a lot. They got almost all their. In fact, all of their troop units all went down at least 1 point. Beast Naga's down to 10. Boys down to 8 and Gretchen down to 4. I never thought I'd see another 4-point.
No, because we saw kind of everything being minimum 5, from conscripts to guard to all that stuff was kind of limited at 5. Gazgul stays exactly the same.
Oh, he was 300 before.
He was 300.
He was probably
before.
fine.
He was perfect before. He's perfect now.
Oh. Let's see. So Burner Boy's at 10. I think that's a decrease as well.
That's pretty spicy for like a lot of auto hits.
Yeah,
in the back of a truck.
Yeah,
big fan.
Or a battle wagon.
Macquarie down 5 points for the world's most annoying HQ.
He is annoying. He is really annoying.
You either kill him very quickly or you never kill him, making him the best warlord option.
It's true. It's true. He does have a set warlord trait too. Let's see. What is the other thing I was looking for? Was not flash kits. It was the Ludas. Luda's down to 14 points a model. I think that's a decrease as well.
That's a really good point level for them, I'm feeling.
But yeah, some really nice points changes here. Some lessening of some of the super expensive stuff. So you like to see that.
I really like the changes, especially like I said, to the troops, because you have their name's escaping me now as I continue to be terrible. The Beast Snag is just being too much for what they did, and just not a good choice against poison. I think at 10 points, a little bit more of a good idea on those guys there.
They went down from 11 to 10, right?
Yeah, they still don't really compare to the boys who are going to do the thing. I think, though, at 4 points a model, you can't help but just fill out your troop slots for Gretchen.
Gretchen are pretty good for that.
Just hide in your deployment zone. They're not tall. You can model for advantage.
You can definitely hide them behind barricades and stuff.
And that leaves, I mean, I know like the old adage was always, toys, boys before toys. But no, this is the new 40K.
Just Grotz, please.
Take 120 points of Grotz, then go crazy with the rest.
Hell yeah. So that's all good. So the final unit here, or the final army that I'd like to talk about.
I don't even have a drum roll.
Okay.
No, I don't even have one.
Oh, you don't have one?
I just have a thing about trapped milk or bagged milk that I saw.
Oh man, is it that commercial?
It is that commercial.
That commercial is just great.
Yeah.
Why don't we play the commercial and come back to him, John?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so long since I've had to.
I know, dude. Remember we used to do commercials?
Oh, hell yeah. And this commercial is going to let us get flagged by YouTube.
Hell.
I lived in Canada my whole life. Big milk is so normal. However, it seems to be a mystery for a lot of people online, especially Americans. I'll show you how big milk works. We have them in bags to keep them fresh. Now, it comes in a big bag at any grocery store. Some places recycle them, but most people throw them out. You can also donate them to most church groups, and they weave them into mats for poor countries. In a big bag, there are 3 bags, and they're a little over a liter each. Do you know how fresh the bag milk is? Each bag has a best before date. Milk pitchers are very common. You can get them at any home furnishing store. They probably even sell them at the dollar store. They're very easy to find. You just place the bag in a pitcher upright. Well, you probably want to know how to get the milk out. Snippets are very useful. And you just cut one corner of the bag. You can also use scissors, and it's that simple. You just cut it. Now it pours nice and smooth, and it's that easy. There you have it. Please like, share, comment. It's much appreciated.
It is much appreciated.
I lived in Canada my whole
That's
life.
Oh,
bag
stop.
milk,
Oh,
John.
God.
Milk
Okay.
is so normal.
Stop. Okay. The fun thing here, as we've just learned out, John totally forgot the packed milk commercial just plays on the loop. By the way, that I trolled people with it by just going onto Discord channels and leaving it running on voice.
Amazing.
We're fixed now. We're back. I just started talking,
man.
and it was like, I've lived in Canada my whole life. Bagged milk is so normal. But we're back
because you're a freak.
with the next winner. I guess our last winner for the chapter proof points update 2022.
John, the last winner is all of you. And
Wait a second. What?
And you're a winner because of the points increases to the Tau Empire models and Tyranid models.
Yeah, 2 of the greatest enemies to competitive 40K over the last 3 months here.
To fun.
The enemies of fun, the Tau Empire with their crisis suits of doom and their Tyranids with their everything, really just tearing up the top tables, becoming a meme in the fact that they were just the top 4 of every event. Saw sizable increases. And in fact, I looked at if you look at one of the biggest recent events, a Newcastle GT that just happened in the UK. Won by Mr. Innes Wilson, captain of Team Scotland for the WTC. His list in that event went up 220 points, or as we like to call it here at Mob Rules, 1 Malceptor.
That is now also a unit of measurement.
That is now a unit of measurement.
Yeah, so here's a funny story. My Crisis Squad unit went up about 1 Malceptor.
Oh, It did. So I guess let's start with Tau, where we did see maybe not so drastic changes, but changes in the right place.
Okay, so you're looking at a couple of things. Gun drones went up to 10 points. Marker drones went up, or not marker drones. Marker drones stayed the same, but shield drones went up to 15. So that's a 2 and 3 point increase respectively. Enforcer battlesuits went up by 10 points. Let's see what else. Troops stayed the same. I was surprised to see Kroot still at 6. I think they're still an amazing buy for what you get. The crisis suits, though, this is where they really kicked Tau right in the dick, and everybody knows this is what you want to see. Crisis battlesuit squads up to 40 points a model. Same with the bodyguards. They're both 40 points, but the bodyguards have less slots, so something to think about. So you're trading a slot for basically getting the bodyguard role, which is a bad trade. Don't do that trade. But the weapons on them also increased by a bit. So like the plasma rifle doesn't start at 5 points anymore. It starts at 10. The only weapons that start at 5 points and go 5, 10, 20, well, I guess the flamer is 5, 10, 15, but the burst cannon is also 5, 10, 20. So you might see more burst cannons. That's probably good for everyone.
So I know like the popular thing right now is just to load it up with as much plasma as you can 3D print.
Correct.
Does this kind of point change in my like sort of conspiracy theory out of mind line up more to kind of what's inside the box, or kind of encourage you to build it more to what's in the box there?
I think they just want you to take less of the same weapons, and I think that's good. Just because spamming weapons is like, it's never fun for your opponent. So you do like to see that kind of that kind of a change a little bit.
You'd love to see it.
Broadside's up 10 points as well. And I think that's it. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Storm Surge went up 50 points.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I just saw that. Okay, that's cool. I haven't used a Storm Surge yet, and I don't suspect I will anytime soon.
You have 3 that will remain in storage.
400 points is a lot. So that's Tau. Like my Tau list, I think went up about a Maliceptor, roughly. Probably a little bit less than that. I think my one crisis squad went up 200 or 180 points total.
And I think you ran Seth Oster, friend of Signals. Seth Oster's list. He just did really well.
He did.
The GT came in.
He brought 18 crisis suits though. So if you can imagine at 10 points a model, that's already 180 points. And then his weapon loadouts, all the crisis suits they took basically went up 10 points as well from just the weapons.
Close to 400 point upgrade.
It's almost 400 points that list increase. So
I think on the whole, it's a good thing because, I mean, we do like seeing a lot of crisis suits and it's all good, but it's not necessarily the funnest army to play against. So just increasing the price on those crisis suits, encourage other uses, like some of the other issues, shall we say, in the army, and the Kroot carnivores and the hounds, they stay pretty much the same points.
So you still have some strong tools, right? Like I got that. I think this points more towards maybe some of the other toys that are good, like maybe take the Ghost Keel. That might be a choice that people take, or maybe even, who knows, I hate to say it, but a Riptide.
God, you're just bringing back 6th edition memories for me right now. But never ask for a Riptide.
Hammerheads didn't go up, so I think Hammerheads are still a good choice. Man, rail guns are good. They just
it's
kill
the one thing
that
I'm very scared of.
You should be.
Yeah. I'm going to lose 4 models a turn in turn 1 and then 2 models turn 2.
Yeah.
For reasons. Yeah. So the next one moving on here.
Oh, man, we got 2
Tyranids. These guys, man, did they take a hit all over.
Yeah.
A deserved hit, to be honest.
And like the points increases, I don't think are egregious. I think that there's definitely some here that are, all these are fine. Like, don't be a baby. The Maliceptor's maybe a little extreme. That's probably the worst one. He went up 50 points to 220. But the Tyrant went to 210. The Flying Tyrant, I should say. And Adrenal Glands are 15 points, so he's 225 with Adrenal Glands. So that definitely went up quite a bit.
So I think like all of the Hive Tyrant variants went up 20 points. So your base Hive Tyrant is 180 now. Your Flying one, even Swarm Lord, is up 20 points to 240.
Okay.
Really kind of just taking that Tyrant frame as this is the base cost of that.
Which, good, because that was an undercosted frame. And then you have Tyranid Warriors at 30 points a model now. Venom Cannon's still 5, so that's still a gimme choice. And you don't have to pay for bone swords, so you're going to take 2 bone swords and.
Yeah, aside from with the warriors, though, all the other troops pretty much stayed the same price. So again, I think we're seeing sort of not like as heavy-handed a smackdown as we've seen with AdMech and orcs and things like that. Just really hitting the problem areas that were too cheap, like the tyrants and the Tyranid warriors.
Pyrophores up to 40 points a model. That's another good change. And the Raveners going up to 35. Although Raveners still get free war gear, so I don't. That's
kind of
probably
balances out a little
not
bit.
great. Exocrine went up to 200. Screamer killers are 130 base now. They were, I think, 105 or something. So they went up significantly. So that nukes my list, but good. The Harpy is 175 base now, and then 15 points each for the Venom cannons.
Yeah, so again, looking at Innes Wilson's winning Newcastle list, it went up to 200. One of his Harpies went up 55 points.
Yeah, I believe that.
And then based on that, they got hit hard. And I think we're looking at anything that gives it that mobility and that ability to...
The mobility and the firepower.
Yeah, mobility and firepower really got hit hard.
So yeah, Tyranids took some punches. You love to see him get kicked in the dick though, because it's good for the game, and it keeps things fresh, right?
Sure does.
Right.
Let's take a quick peek. We didn't really plan this beforehand or go through it, but Forge World also got all of their points updated.
We did.
And
I did some glancing. The things that I was really,
I will say,
I guess.
Sad times. Warhound Titan is still 2,000 points, so some asshole is still going to take that to an RTT and think it's fun.
The Volkite Contemptor is the same. So if you were thinking about that.
Then we lost Danny's microphone. Say hello.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah. So you're saying Volkite Contemptor stayed the same?
Yeah, it's 170 for that bad boy.
Greater Blight drones stayed the same, and I think from looking at a lot of the Forge World stuff didn't really get touched.
No, I agree.
Which is unfortunate, I think, in some aspects,
because you don't see it quite as much. Yeah, and I get that too. I guess. I think some of they probably didn't go down in points. I was going to say the Greater Demons I think went down, but I don't think that they did. But yeah, I was looking at Eldar. Speaking of Eldar, I'm sure people want to know what happened to them, and actually not that much, I don't think. The things that I was quickly able to parse out is Farseers went up about 5 points a model. Baharoth went up 20 points, which was significant. Swooping Hawks went up 2.
But to be fair, like the way those guys are being used and their mobility, pretty gross.
Oh, they're really annoying to play against.
So I think those are fair ones to have.
And then Shadow Weavers went up 10 points model too, the weapons platforms.
Yeah.
I think that was a good choice too, because they were criminally cheap at 35 points a model.
The other thing we're seeing coming out of this, and again, we're throwing shit against the wall here, guys. If you're listening, this is your first time. This is kind of
bless you.
This is what you get. Custodes were talked about being too cheap, kind of out of the gate here.
Let me tell you, Mitchell.
This is Danny's new Danny's
my nemesis,
new better friend.
No, he's not
here.
Yeah,
you heard that.
He's my mortal enemy. Trajan went up to 200 points, and I couldn't be happier. I'm super excited that he went up so many points. I hope people stop taking him. I know they won't, but I was pretty happy about that.
Looking through this, though, I can't see anything else that actually went up in points. Garter's still 45 points a model. Yep. Prosecutors are still 12 points a model.
Now, the Virtus Praetors are 85 with salvo launchers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the same, though, as what they were before. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we're still seeing this kind of points drops being the same on...
Otherwise, I think it's pretty much the same.
Everything is exactly the same on Custodians here.
Yeah.
The Alaris are the same. All of the HQs outside of Trajan are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys didn't really change much, but also they're not really lighting up the world right now.
None of those were the problem.
No, it was Trajan that was the problem.
Yeah, Trajan is garbage points.
Well... That's kind of our quick 45-minute review.
I know, yeah.
Of that there. I guess I would like to spend at least 60 minutes for monetary reasons. Just talking about how does this chapter approved, along with the Nephilim mission pack, change your army? Or kind of how does it change what you're doing?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're both doing right now.
Okay.
So we have a little RTT this weekend. We have a little RTC event.
It's so long, so it's been so long we've been talking about games we played. I'm thinking of just taking this and setting it up on a table, and then we'll just talk in between. It's like, yeah, so I just played this, and it was fucking awful, and I'm really bad at Chaos Knights.
My opponent was terrible. He was a bad person, and he smelled real bad.
Yeah, and they'll be in the same room, so it won't
Perfect.
be awkward at all.
Yeah, it'll be perfect.
But yeah, so
They'll get the message, John. That's the important part.
For sure. So I guess what are our plans for this RTT? Because this RTT is using new points, new missions, no command points.
Yeah. So we're going to be starting with very few. So I've decided that I'm just going to, instead of taking my Tau, which is fine. Like I could play the Tau. They'd be okay. I didn't really have to make a ton of changes to my list. Basically, like, for my last GT list that I ran, I had to drop some Kroot and some. I had to change a little bit of the weapon loadout on my Crisis suits, and that was basically it. I swapped Commander for Shadow Sun. Anyway, but yeah, I decided to steal John's death card for the tournament.
I did decide to borrow my death card because I think both of us, again, super excited by the changes, not only from the points here, but from Nephilim towards death card. Diz, what are some of the secondaries changed hugely for Death Guard while staying kind of really similar to that? What are some of... Give me a second here. Well, we can find these.
Oh, man. These missions are so good for Death Guard, I think. Because like Death Guard are definitely like a mid-table army, right? They want to be
because when
table
you have 5 inches of movement, you're not really going to be getting line breaker.
Look, man, I get plenty of movement done with 5 inches every week.
Actually, every time I play Death Guard, I've ended up in the deployment zone at the end of the game. Also, please, probably shouldn't say that when your wife is in a different state for the next few months.
I didn't say she was doing it, and I didn't say anyone else was doing it, John.
Self-movement.
Yeah, dude, there's still movement.
Propulsion.
Sometimes you got to crank the generator, John.
I'm not touching myself. It's propulsion.
It's almost jet propulsion.
Anyway, again, we want to thank GW for sending us preview copies of these points and the Warzone Nephilim GT pack.
So I really like fleeing vectors.
Yeah. So that one changed pretty significantly.
It did. So it's now it's 2VP if any enemy units fail morale in both players' turns. So it's either player's turn at the end of the turn. Oh, so you get 2VP if they fail any check at all.
Yep.
Awesome. And then you get an extra VP if any of that model's units were destroyed by plague weapons. Well, guess what? I'm barely going to take any non-plague weapons.
Yeah. And you can make your bolters plague weapons for
Absolutely.
like a couple CP, which again, this mission pack, it's an investment, but you know.
But look, like with Death Guard, I'm probably not paying that many CP for extra Warlord traits and relics and stuff.
No, and you can bring a tally man to bring some back.
You could. I didn't, but you can.
You didn't, I know. I pulled the models for you.
I still think he's good though. Like I would definitely take him if I had the free 70 points. I would be all about it. So and then you get 1 VP if at least 7 enemy models were destroyed during attacks during your turn, and you get an extra one if any of them were destroyed by plague weapons. I think this is almost like as long as you get like the Death Shroud into combat and you don't kill everything they're touching,
it's a gimme.
I feel like you're going to get it. Because you just pop the -4, you just pop the -4 leadership.
The problem is going to be not killing everything you come into contact with
To make them fail a morale check.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they are very lethal. So I think you almost have to build your death card list. So before you would build like, you'd put your Death Shroud unit down and you would have like your Lord or whatever to reroll ones, and then you would have your Biologist Putrefier to kind of throw out a whole bunch of mortals just so you wipe that off the face of the earth. You almost have to build now like, I want to cripple you.
Right.
But not destroy you.
I just want to weaken your immune system.
It's really, really appropriate for the times.
You've got a despoiled battleground, and this is a battlefield supremacy. So your choices here are taking engage on all fronts or behind enemy lines.
Which, guys, let me tell you, as a longtime Death Guard player who tried to make engage on all fronts work,
it's real hard.
it's real hard.
Yeah. So this is 3 victory points for each bullet point that you do. So John, what are the bullet points on that again?
Man, that is like such a fantastic question. You have one or more Death Guard unit from your army wholly within your opponent's deployment zone.
Cool.
And one or more Death Guard units from your army wholly within your deployment zone.
Perfect.
Let me tell you, real easy with like one vehicle and a small Death Shroud squad. One or more Death Guard units from your army are wholly within 3 different table quarters, and these units are all more than 6 inches from any other table quarter.
So it's like engage on all fronts,
like
but not really.
Engage, but easier because you only have to be in 3.
I mean, you do only have to be in 3 for engage, but you don't get nearly as many.
Exactly. One or more Death Guard units from your army are wholly within 4 different table quarters, and those units are all more than 6 inches from your other table quarter. So this is like engage plus.
Yeah.
And then finally, you control half or more of the total number of objective markers in the battlefield. And there are Death Guard units from your army within range of each of these objective markers. So this is like engage plus stranglehold, all wrapped into one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's easy. Like they say, it's maybe a little harder, but I think it's better I think it's better in a lot of ways. I think it's maybe.
I think with the points drops to the fastest units, so Blight Haulers went down in points, Plague Burst Crawlers went down in points, drones went down in points.
Yep.
You have a lot more access to fast stuff.
Absolutely.
Death Shroud going down in points to 150 for a 3-man squad. You can drop down literally anywhere on the table.
And they're a threat.
It's real easy to drop a 3-man down.
Yep.
Like it makes it a really easy to score secondary. You do have to sort of build for it though.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm okay with trying to build for
And
it.
from looking at what you're taking, you did.
I feel like I can do it though with like I don't have to do this one if I don't want to.
No. But it's definitely an option.
For sure. And I like that. Then you've got Spread the Sickness. And so if you remember this one, this is the one where you took mortal wounds.
Yep.
And sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't, if you were upsec or not.
Generally a really commonly taken Death Guard one because you didn't have to move super far. It was pretty much a guaranteed 3 points a turn.
Yep.
But the fact that you would have to have Poxwalkers do it because you're taking mortal wounds because you don't want to leave victory points to a dice.
Right. So all you have to do it, it doesn't even matter if there's enemies on it. You just have to control it. So if you have OPSEC units, which Death Guard now actually have a fair amount of.
A ton.
Yeah.
All of their Terminators are OPSEC now.
I know. Isn't that like, even though like really it's only Plague Marines, Poxwalkers, and the 2 different kinds of Terminators.
What the fuck else are you taking in Death Guard?
That's significant. Yeah. Those are the best units. So, yeah. And also, you score 4 victory points instead of 3 if it's not in your deployment zone, which is like a really nice little boost, especially for like objectives like the Scouring and stuff, missions like the Scouring, where like the markers are like right outside your deployment zone.
Just.
Yeah. And you just walk in and you complete it. You don't even have to roll for it. You just do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like that one. Otherwise, for Death Guard, like you just have to kind of play it by ear like any other army, right? Where you want to make sure you're assessing your opponent's list and what it does and what you can score points on. So if they have a lot of vehicles, maybe bring it down is better. If they have a lot of models, maybe
No prisoners
is good. So you just have to choose your secondary the best.
Brother, let me tell you the opposite of that.
Okay.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
You guys can't see it because this is the audio podcast we do and not the live video.
But John just winked at me, you guys.
Every Monday night at
really
10 p.m.
confusing.
Eastern on the Frontline Gaming Network. I've moved into Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
Thank you again, GW, for the amazing review copy of Codex Chaos Knights and the box that came with it. I fell in love with that model range really hard.
It's so cool.
Really hard to the point where I bought 12 more war dogs. So after talking to Tim Penny, a Florida man himself, an amazing person, and also Anthony Vanelli, a small violent man who only plays armies that involve just
Punching.
fucking destroying you as quickly as possible. I started running 14 War Dogs. And it's a thing. It's a beautiful thing. So my list right now, and this list again, if you guys are going to the tournament at Tier 1 in Anchorage on Saturday, spoilers. But it's 6 carnivores, and 8
Stalkers.
8 stalkers.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the list.
That's the list. Warlord traits, no thank you.
For cowards.
For cowards. Relics, no, I don't believe so.
Hard pass.
Hard pass. This guy is starting with 3 CP because of poor wording of the super heavy detachment, meaning that I have not 5 models, but 5 units. So it doesn't get refunded at all. But yeah, I'm running 14 War Dogs, which seems like a super cool meme list. But if you look below the surface, it's a really good list.
It's actually good. Yeah.
It's actually good. So here's the thing. You don't worry about auras. Before I was running Helm of Dogs with it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But by turn 2, everyone's out at width of 6 inches of everyone else anyway.
Don't be a coward.
Don't be a coward. Turn 1, you're shooting them. Turn 2, you're charging them. You're dealing with 14 models.
Oh.
Toughness 7, 12 wounds apiece. 12 inches of movement. 14 for the carnivores that are running forward. Yeah, what's a classic thing called? It's a stat check army.
Yeah. That's 100% what it is.
You can either deal with it or you can't. There's kind of zero in between. And I'm hoping that the more I play it, the more I can kind of get past these armies that can deal with it by playing with strategy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see.
But for this one, pretty much I'm sticking to using one of the cool things about the new Nephlim pack. You can use as many faction secondaries as you want to. There is no limit. Before it was you use 1 and that's it. So for me, I will literally always take Ruthless Tyranny.
Yeah, it's so good.
At the end of your turn, score 2 victory points if you control half or more of the total number of objective markers. Buddy, my entire army is objective secure.
That's
I count
right.
as 5,
and count as 5 models.
5 models for each guy, and I move at a ridiculous speed. And yes, my carnivores are advancing turn 1.
Hell yeah.
You score 1 victory point if half or more of the total number of objective markers are within dread range. So here's the thing. Do you think, Danny, that my 14 models that move a foot a turn with a foot of dread range will have more than half of the total objective markers within dread range? They will. They absolutely will.
It depends on how fast I can kill them, John.
Yeah, fair. Turn 1, though.
Yeah, turn 1, I'm boned.
Score 1 victory point if every objective marker on the battlefield is within dread range. Like I said, I think, especially with the way this army plays, like my only thing is looking at my list now, probably should have picked a knight or 2 that doesn't want to just run as fast as possible at the enemy. But
that's fair.
The biggest nerd will stay at the back.
That's right.
Also, every game I'm going to take Storm of Darkness.
Hell yeah. What does that do, John?
It's an action. So one of my knights isn't going to get to shoot his happy gun. Probably one of the carnivores.
When do you start the action?
In the morale phase. Never mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So 1 Chaos Knight from your army starts at the end of your morale phase. Nerds who say that because the FAQ says your morale phase and the Nephilim book says the morale phase, stop it. You know what they meant to do. Do not bitch to me on Facebook that you can only score 9 victory points from this. That is still good. But it's the kind of the other stuff that kind of comes into play.
Why can you only score 9 victory points?
Because they're bad at the game, Danny. They're nerds on Facebook.
That's true.
But the best part of this, okay, so it's an action when you're within range of an objective marker that has not been cursed, much like Spread the Sickness. You complete the action in your psychic phase, your next psychic phase. So again, making an army I can play in all phases. I'm not casting powers. I'm completing actions.
That's right.
So when you do this and you complete it, when you're a non-chaos unit within 6 inches of the objective marker, subtract 1 from your leadership.
Hell yeah.
And Danny, really, that's the sexiest part for me.
It is good.
Because when combined with the dread table, you're -2 when you're near an objective marker in my knights. That's very good. Score 3 victory points every time this action is taken. Ooh. Path of Destruction, I'm sure it's great, but I kind of feel like taking a kill secondary.
Okay,
so,
sure.
Like, do you have tanks? I'm going to probably try and kill them.
Probably a good idea.
Do you have people?
No.
I'm going to chain cannon them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Chain cannon the people you don't have. But I'm really excited because, again, it's not really an army I'm used to playing. All of the time, and I think, Danny, for as long as you've known me, I've played horde armies.
Sure. That's true.
And then as soon as I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play an elite army with a low model count to get better at the game. And all that happens is I start low model count.
It gets bigger and bigger.
And after every game, it gets more.
No, that John has picked a list that is essentially the most possible knight models that you can bring in an army of knights. So he's hoarded the knight list.
I've made a knight horde. I own other knights. I have the big knight.
He just refuses to take them.
I won't take them.
He literally, I told him, I said, John, why don't you take the knight abominate that you built? He said, Danny, you know what? Fuck you.
You know, it wasn't quite that hard. But every time I looked at something like that, okay, so you're like, why don't you take a knight abominate? And I'm like, well, instead of an abominant, I can take 3 carnivores.
True.
And I'm like, why wouldn't I just take 3? And everyone's like, well, abominant's a big threat. People are going to target it. And I'm like, cool. 3 carnivores, also a big threat.
All of them are threats.
All of them are
Every
threats.
single one.
So I'm sure I'll break out the big knights. I'm going to find like the sweet spot. But I'm locked into Chaos Knights for a while just because I accidentally invested hundreds of dollars into this army. Again, thank you for GW for like the first 2 being free and the next 12 just
Your first hit's always free, John.
First hit's always free. But I'm excited. I think this Saturday, again, we're going to go to an RTT.
Yeah.
We'll see how it's been. It's been a long time for me since I've been to an RTT. Not going to lie. It's been full-time work, full-time school, and stupid family getting in the way. But no, I really want to make Paw Patrol thing.
Oh yeah, don't forget the name of the army.
Yeah.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol. That's the one thing I've worked very hard. Like
TM.
I've never abused my internet personality-ness or my internet knowing people who were actually good at the game. But I've managed to convince Tim Penny, who I think came up with the list or kind of originally, that it was called Paw Patrol. Anthony Vanella, who's a phenomenal player and just a great guy. To call it Paw Patrol.
Perfect.
To the point where other people are correcting people in chats.
Perfect. You love to see that.
Yeah. You love to see it.
Sorry, we've been way overusing that this episode.
Love to see it.
You do.
Hashtag Paw Patrol. That is what that's going to be. But I think in a month, it's only going to be 11 nights and a little surprise. But we'll get into that in a later episode. I've already caught myself far too many times. Danny, we hit the hour mark.
We did it.
According to Val Hasselfinger, that's when you should stop recording.
Oh, okay.
Anything else you want to touch on here before we?
No, man, I'm super excited to play in this RTT. Oh, just so people know my list. I don't think I mentioned it.
What is your list? I got excited about Paw Patrol.
I'm going to take like a Lord of Contagion. I'm going to take a Malignant Plaguecaster. I'm going to take a Malignant. Not a Malignant. I don't know. The
Malignant Plaguecaster. Oh, the
Foul Blightspawn.
Foul Blightspawn. Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second because I elbow hit mute on everything.
And then, John power dropped his elbow into his soundboard. It was great.
I did. Yeah.
And I've got 3x5 Plague Marines. I'm just going to equip them with all the stuff that I can possibly give them because it's all free.
I think I have 3 Power Fist
Perfect
Sergeants. Well, look.
Perfect. 2 units of 10 Poxwalkers. 2 Blight Drones with Flesh Mowers.
Zoom.
A unit of 3
Haulers.
Mephitic Blight Haulers, and then 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. And a Rhino.
It's pretty gross because you're gonna fit Poxwalkers in that Rhino for blocking, or are you gonna put? Well, I guess
probably gonna put
2
2 units of 5 Plague Marines in there.
Yeah,
and then pop out and give somebody the old what for?
You're gonna let a Stalker just fist the tank to death, and then let the Plague Marines fist back. A lot of fisting going on in our games.
A lot of fisting.
Well, I'm excited to see how it goes. We know for a fact there's going to be other Chaos Knight players there. Wallace O'Donnell, GW top 10 finisher for the last major, showing up. But he's cowardly taking big boy knights.
I know.
The anti-Paw Patrol, what would that be?
Just so disappointing.
That'd probably be like Air Bud.
Oh, man, that is... You can't say that about him like that.
Super Buddies, one of those kind of movies. And then another Chaos list, and I'm sure our friend Nate...
Other people.
Our friend Nate will take Tau and then realize he doesn't like him, and then move on from there. As is tradition.
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, guys, this was super fun. Most likely, we're going to try and record something from the RTT.
Yep.
Everything's pretty mobile. Again, you can check us out every Monday night on the Frontline Gaming Network, 10 p.m. Eastern, Grim After Dark. You can also see a terribly edited video that I do of it afterwards to cut it down. So all the shitty parts go away until I realize it's the shitty parts that make it good. And then, yeah, questions. You can't ask. You're not a live chat. Who cares?
Yeah, join our Discord if you want to. Become a Patreon, I guess, or don't.
Really don't.
Yeah.
No, even the people right now who are Patreons, stop paying us.
Yeah.
We don't produce.
We're just garbage hosts, and we don't deserve your love.
Yeah, so until next time, which will hopefully be sooner than fucking 5 months or whatever it's been, we're going to leave you with this quality again. We played a bagged milk commercial halfway through this episode. A while ago, I sat there and I went into Discord chat rooms and people would come in, but I would just play it on a loop. And we're going to see one of these from number 4 in the world, Warhammer 40,000 player, Innes Wilson. Guys, from Mob Rules, I've been John.
I've been Danny.
And we'll see you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Nope, that is Innes being helpful. We will move past that. I mean, it wouldn't be Mob Rules if I didn't fuck up the outro.
That's true.
That's true. All right, we're going now.
Be a mystery for a lot of people online, especially Americans. I'll show you how big milk works.
Too.
We have them in bags to keep them fresh. Now, it comes in a big bag at any grocery store. Some places recycle them, but most people throw them out. You can also donate them to most church groups, and they weave them into mats for poor countries. In a big bag, there are 3 bags.
This is like someone's high school project about bagging
milk. Do you know
milk.
how fresh the bag milk is? Each bag has a best
John, if you're
before
speaking,
date.
by the way, I can't hear you over the sound of the bagged milk thing. It's literally impossible to hear you.
Milk pitchers are very common. You can get them at any
that's
home
kinda what I
furnishing
figured.
store. They probably even sell them at the dollar store. They're very easy to find. You just place the bag